That's better. Welcome to the Ravery Sports Podcast. Gotta get my technical game here. The last few weeks I've been having stuff here that are it's not going smoothly though. But this is what happens when you go live. And we are live here on a Thursday, not Wednesday. Thursday last night went to the baseball game at Nats Park. Congressional baseball game. I was warned there was a bunch of old guys playing baseball, and there was a bunch of old guys playing baseball in a very expensive, although gorgeous stadium in Washington, D.C. But it was not. It was overall, got to see Nats Park and got to go to D.C. So I had a good time actually. So I actually took a rare day out to go hang out when I got some tickets there. So I was very happy about that. Definitely check out Nats Park if you guys ever get to go to Nats Park. We're going to change that right there. So, all right. Thank you very much for joining us here. Obviously, Ravery Sports has an affiliate deal with Fanatics. So definitely, especially on Saturday and Sunday, you're going to see links with Fanatics. Fanatics, NFL Shop, Ravery Sports now gets a percentage of everything that's settled with those links. So if you go ahead, click the Ravery Sports link, we will go ahead, have a deal with Fanatics. We'll go ahead, NFL Shop, things like that. RaverySports.company.site. Also, too, if you are looking for stuff right now, Ravery's oils and merchandise. So the Fanatics stuff may be a little bit more pricey. The Ravery Sports on the site is a little bit more manageable in terms of finances and everything like that if you want that stuff. That stuff is still there, so that's cool if you want that there as well. Also, Genesis Notary Services in Winchester, Virginia. If you know about Winchester, Virginia, definitely too. Notary services, mobile notary services, wedding efficient. We can do that for you. If you have anything like that, if you're in the real estate, definitely we have that as far as working with the real estate companies and everything. We have all that as well. Genesis Notary Services will help you with that. See, Charles Harris, we are LegalShield.com. So we will go ahead and get that squared away for you as well. So also to definitely check us out there. Best way for the Legal Shield is to catch us on Facebook as well. So definitely check that out if you go ahead and get that squared away. All right. So I'm actually going to get the names right this time. Bobby Brown, Ralph Tresvant, Johnny Gill, Ronnie DeVoe, Michael Bivens, Ricky Bell. When you see them on the screen, the new additions to the Ravens. So we're talking about it. Bobby, Ronnie, we got them there as well. Great music group. But we're talking football here, and we're talking about the new additions to the Baltimore Ravens team in 2020, in 2025. Now, can't talk about the new additions. We're going to talk about what's going on, but we're going to take a little bit of a deep dive here on all the players that came in to Baltimore as well. But real quickly, we're going to talk about what went out the door because the team does look different every year. What's gone? Patrick McCarry, your Super Six man for so many years. He was the starter last year at left guard. So he's signed with the Jaguars. Big contract for him. Big contract also, too, for Brandon Stevens, signed with the Jets as well. So he will be starting. Justin Fields is his new quarterback there. Stevens was good, but I think he really struggled last year. I thought maximum effort, maximum results for Brandon Stevens. Didn't really covered well, doesn't really see the ball well. He doesn't really get you interceptions. So Malik Harrison signed with the Squealers. So this is 2 years in a row. Ravens linebacker has signed with Pittsburgh in the offseason. I love that for the love that we're going to have guys on the other side that we're going to be fighting with there. Chris Board signed with the Giants. Chris Board is now a member of the Giants. He could be competing for a starting spot. Josh Jones didn't play much here. He's going with Mike McDonald, former Ravens assistant, and the Seahawks. Christian Welch, he's been on and off team a couple times. Again, he signed with the Packers. He seems to be there quite a bit as well. Special teams guy. Tre'Davious White didn't really play as much as I expected. Resigned with the Bills. Michael Pierce, great defensive tackle. First of all, Michael Pierce, shout out to him. He was really good the last couple of years. He's going ahead and retired. Marcus Williams still, as of this recording, I don't know, has been released. It's definitely been released, but I don't think he's signed with anybody else to my knowledge. Anything I've seen, I think he was working out with a couple teams. Arthur Millette has signed with the Steelers after he got let go, but he's been since let go from Pittsburgh from the last I saw a couple days ago. The GOAT, Justin Tucker, a myriad of issues. He has been released right after the draft when they went ahead and drafted a kicker. We'll talk about that. Josh Johnson, I think he's a future coach in the league. He signed with Commanders to now back up Jaden Daniels. Deontay Johnson, the Reavers tried so hard to get a comp pick out of Deontay Johnson, signed with the Browns as well. I think we already did well. And Steve Sims signed with the Seahawks, special teams guy, play there. Now, what's coming in the door? I think this is probably the best backup quarterback that the Ravens have had the entire Lamar Jackson era, and maybe in one of the franchise. Cooper Rush, look at those numbers. I mean, those are this is just last year, 1844 in terms of yards, played several games because Dak Prescott was hurt, 12 TDs, 5 interceptions. This is a bit of a throwback. It used to be a lot of teams had a good backup quarterback. They used to have a good second string quarterback. Now you don't see it nearly as much because of the money that the first stringers are making. They're not second team quarterbacks. You don't see them do as much. Now you see guys with big contracts and the backups are way below. So this is kind of a guy, though, that you feel very, very comfortable with. If Lamar, God forbid, has to miss a few games, your season's not over. This guy can win some games with you. So this is a very, very good upgrade. I'm a little even surprised that teams weren't looking for him as a starter. I think they might have. He did a decent job last year playing for Prescott. Going to be here, going to go ahead and possibly now he's not like Lamar, obviously, in terms of his athletic ability and running. But I think they went out and said, hey, let's go ahead and spend some money and get a good backup. And that's what they did, Cooper Rush. So good job getting him. Lamar special, DeAndre Hopkins. I think you have to temper your expectations a little bit. I'm getting asked the question a lot on the driving to the top and just, in the Twitter spaces and all that. Is this guy going to be a number? No, he's not a number one receiver anymore. He's not going to be a guy in top 10 in receiving yards like he was for so many years with the Texans. So I think you see the name and you have to match expectations. He was good last year in Kansas City, and that's more what you can expect. Contributing guy. They're not going to ask him to do a lot unless there's actually an injury there. So, but temper your expectations a little bit. This is a solid third receiver. Again, kind of like Cooper Rush, getting a solid third receiver. Definite upgrade over Nelson Aguilar as well. So, should be happy with that. Lamar really wanted to play with DeAndre Hopkins. Great hands still. Even an older receiver, even if they're not as fast, they have good hands. DeAndre Hopkins as well. Earlier today, I just saw the video of, if you check it out on the Ravens, where it was John Harbaugh teaching Deontay Western how to catch the punt returns with both hands, the left hand and the right hand, how to spin and catch it, how to give himself space and everything like that. This is a John Harbaugh specialty, the special teams. He's one of the few coaches in the league who was actually a special teams coach at some point all those years for Andy Reid. So he is going to have Deontay Western, who was drafted in the 6th round. He may play a little bit of receiver. I think in his rookie campaign, you're not going to see him much there. But I think they're going to give him every opportunity to be your starting punt returner. They were not happy with it last year. They tried a couple things. They tried Tylan Wallace. He's going to have to show it in camp, but I think he's going to be given every opportunity to go ahead and try that and get a little bit more out of their punt return. The special teams last year wasn't what they were usually seeing. Not as happy. But usually the Ravens almost always have a top 10 group, and I think it were not quite at expectations last year. Emory Jones. It is going to be some of a battle at left guard for the left guard starting job. Emory Jones, Bit of a tackle in college. I think with Voorhees there, probably with the inside track, possibly we'll talk about training camp battles. But a third-round pick, that's a pretty good investment for a guy who is going to be on your roster. I think they're going to give him a shot at right guard. I think you're going to see him a shot at right tackle. You're going to see him at left guard. So you're going to see a guy here, pretty high pick. I think he's probably the one guy in the draft that's going to, if you do have a guy contribute right away, this is going to be the guy as far as your rookie class of tackles that's going to contribute right away. Emory Jones as well. Note Boom. Guy, I think I actually like this better than some people do. Note Boom has struggled at times. He was the guy that was supposed to take the place of Andrew Whitworth, the stellar left tackle, all those years. Had played for him a little bit in the playoffs, got him a big contract, and he really didn't live up to expectations in Los Angeles as well. I do think he'll be fine in what they're going to call now the Pat McCary role. I think that's what they're looking at for. I don't think he's going to be a starter at right guard. I think what they're looking for him, he has good versatility. So he's not stellar in any one area, but it's stellar if you can put him at 5 different positions on the line like they did with McCary. I do think they're looking for a guy like that. So I do think that's kind of the role he's going to play. It wouldn't blow me away if he had the starting, if they looked at him at left guard. I think the left guard is going to be open, but I think with him, I don't think he's going to start. I think he's going to see him at spot duty, extra tackle, things like that. He could very well be your 6th offensive lineman of the group. Carson Vincent, 5th round pick at Alabama A&M. So very, very small school. This kind of reminds me of when the Ravens picked Jared Gaither years ago. A good measurables, huge size. I don't think he contributes much at all this year. I don't think as a starter. This is a developmental guy. They're going to monitor his progress. They're going to see if he can help them in 2026. More, I think that's kind of the comp here when they go ahead and they have Stanley's a little bit older, et cetera, or maybe even past that, they have him better than on the mind. Stanley has a contract for 2 more years. Rosengarten, they may have to. So this is, I think, for down the line. I think he may play a little bit. I mean, definitely check out in preseason he'll play, but I don't know how much he'll play right away. This is a steal of a 6th round pick. Aeneas Peebles, the 6th round tackle, 3 sacks, 31 tackles, motor. The only reason he was in the 6th round is because he was undersized. I think had he been 300 plus pounds, easily 1st, 2nd round. He's about 270, 280. That's a little small for NFL standards for a guy who plays 3-4 end or tackle. That's a little bit. That's the question. That's the only question. Motor, you're not worried about it all. I think the Ravens is a good team for him because they really move around guys a lot, and he doesn't have to play any one position for a long period. So I think this is a good fit for him as well. Great speed. Great speed. May need to put on another 10 pounds to probably bring that up as well. Jake Hamill is in from the Rams as well. So we talked about Chris Board leaving. I think this is kind of a replacement for Chris Board as well. Inside linebacker next to Roquan Smith may be a thing. You may see him run with the first team through mini camps. I don't think they brought him in for that, frankly. I think special teams guy. They brought him in to lead the special teams, be a backup, help their defense, help their depth pieces. Good special teams player. I think they really were serious about upgrading their special teams. I think that's absolutely what they're going to do is upgrade their special teams. And I definitely think that is a piece there. Here's a guy who's already looked good so far in training camp, Teddy Buchanan, so far during the OTAs. I do really believe this will be a real competition at the inside linebacker spot with Trent Simpson and Teddy Buchanan. Teddy Buchanan, I think, is going to be given every opportunity. I think he's not as high on the depth chart. I think But Teddy Buchanan is, well, interesting to see that, though, how this goes. Are you going to play a young player like this who's never played? This is go time for Trent Simpson, too. They drafted an inside linebacker at your spot when they got rid of somebody. They gave you a starting job. They benched you last year. So this is go time. Let's see if Teddy Buchanan can actually beat him out. As well. I do think it's an open job. I don't think I would put Simpson ahead, but I don't think it is as definitive. I do think it's a job. We talked about Peebles being the steal of the draft. Mike Green, I think, might have been this biggest steal in the entire draft. Mike Green was scheduled to be a top 10, top 15 pick. They're picking him now. Mike Green is here picked him in the late second round. Did have some issues off the field. Won't go into that. But that's why they were able to get him. This is a tremendous pick for the Ravens. Tremendous pick. And he could play behind Kyle Van Noy and Odafe Oweh. Oweh possibly with the contract situation. This is an opportunity for him to actually show that he can be the main guy, be a guy that can actually become an outstanding tackle, outstanding rush. Ravens now having some more success in recent years. For so many years, they whiffed on these guys. This might be the end of David Ojabo on the team with Mike Green, but we will see Mike Green actually coming in this year as well. A couple more. Chibi Awaze from the Tennessee Titans. They are corner, I think, is a little bit of a thing here. TJ Tampa, I think, is going to be in the mix. Awaze, do you think is going to be in the mix? So we know it's going to be Marlon Humphrey. We know it's going to be Nate Wiggins. Who's going to be that other corner that actually take up that slack? Talked a lot this week about Zaire Alexander. We talked about Jalen Ramsey is available on. I didn't talk about here. I talked about it online. So those are names. Awazi's there. TJ Tampa, good reports out of him so far. So interesting to see. I think the spot is open. He's going to get a shot. Arthur Millette is gone. Some of these vets are gone. Jalen Armour Davis is still there. We'll see how that goes as well with Awazi as well. Good late signing, John Jenkins from the Las Vegas Raiders. Not the Oakland, the Las Vegas Raiders. The one thing it really stuck out to me when Eric DeCosta at the post-draft, he said he didn't get a big, strong nose tackle in the draft. He said he kind of missed it. He kind of wasn't able to pull the trigger and getting one. So you knew one was coming, and this is a John Jenkins here. Started a lot of games in his career. I don't think you replace Michael Pierce completely, but maybe you don't have to the way Travis Jones has looked. But you got a guy, a rotational guy. I think that the worst case guy, a rotational guy that can help you out. Big, strong wide body. He's definitely going to stop the run. Definitely going to do things physically for you. Not so much on the pass rush. He might get you a few sacks, or he might surprise you a little bit. But a big, strong, big guy. You got to have it's always good to have a Vince Wilfork type on your team, a Ted Washington type. That's what you got here with John Jenkins as well. Malachi Starks. Now, how big was this pick now with the injury to Adarius Washington? So our hearts out to Adarius, who took over a starter last year. But Malachi Starks, you can put it in pen now as the number one safety, and the team looks great so far. I think the only reason he was drafted this low was his position. Safeties sometimes fall in the draft. Malachi Starks and Kyle Hamilton. And what this will do, drafting on Malachi Starks, it'll kind of allow Kyle Hamilton to go back to the role that he was in, kind of coming up to the line of scrimmage, that Swiss Army knife that was so effective for so long, getting Kyle Hamilton there. So you can put it in pen that Malachi Starks is going to be starting next to Kyle Hamilton. You're going to see a lot of him. Couple more. Tyler Loop. Saw a report today and that he missed some long-distance kicks in camp. I feel like I'm going to be saying this a lot. But Justin Tucker is gone. That's it. And unless he comes out of this and he struggles and maybe he signs back at some point, But Justin Tucker, the era that we had, the great Justin Tucker, who's so good for so many years, is over. There's no such thing as replacing a Justin Tucker. There's no such thing as replacing Michael Jordan. There's no such thing as replacing those guys. All you can do is find the next guy. Tyler Luke is up. He's going to be fighting for the starting job with another rookie, Josh Hoyland, from Wyoming. Got it right. And so this is going to be a legitimate fight for the starting job. John Hoyland didn't get drafted, but this is going to be a legitimate chance for a rookie kicker as well. A little bit worried about the special teams overall because you are, in fact, starting so many rookies here early. But I would say you're going to have to show some patience because you got a rookie kicker, you're going to have a rookie punt returner. And I can't emphasize this enough with Tucker. He's done. Okay? You just got to find the best guy you can. That's all you can do in that situation when you lose a legendary player like that. There you go. New additions. So those are the brand new players for the Baltimore Ravens that you're going to see on the field in 2025 that we haven't had. Good offseason. I'm looking at this group here. Very impressive. Very impressive. Backup quarterback. You lost a nose tackle. They don't really have a lot of holes, guys. They don't really have a lot of holes. The biggest concern, if anything, that I have is the corner position. A little bit of a concern. Both guard spots are concerned. Falele's a concern because I just think he's just got work to do. But also to the left guard, I think is a bit of a concern. But good, strong Ravens team, good offseason. That's kind of what you will see when the season starts. All right, so let's go stay with football here. Top 10 list. So last week was the unofficial start of this, but now this week we're going to start with a top 10 list. So every week, who are the top 10 players at each position in the NFL? And we're going to start with the most obvious, famous position on the field, the top 10 quarterbacks in the NFL. Ravens are on the list. Can't just say who's the best Raven. We got to be objective. We got to look at the whole league. We got to look at who are the top 10 players at each position. We're going to start now. The last one of our top 10 lists is going to be right before the season starts, the week of the first game. The head coach will be the last one. We're going to do one of these every week. The top 10 players in the NFL. Top 10 quarterbacks in the NFL. All right. Number 10, Detroit Lions, Jared Goff. Goff deserves to be here. I think Jared Goff, I have a little bit ahead of Baker Mayfield. It was very, very close. I have him ahead of Baker Mayfield a little bit because the Lions are a little bit better of a team, and I think Baker's production drops a little bit when he plays against better competition. That's kind of not the case with Goff. It's really close. It was really, really, really close between him and Baker Mayfield. I had Baker 11, but Goff, I think, is 10. Goff, I think, look, this was a guy that the Rams gave away. They wanted nothing to do with him. After he took them to the Super Bowl, they gave up a ton of picks to get Matt Stafford. They bring him in. Stafford actually does a great job, obviously, but Goff has taken his team all the way through some tough times, and he's turned a team that's especially a bad team that was just going to be a bridge guy and move off of him to an extension into be the leader of the franchise. So shout out Jared Goff. Massive improvement for Goff. Number 9, we were just talking about Matt Stafford. Stafford is at 9. I think if somebody says he's the best quarterback in the NFC, I don't have beef with that. I think Stafford is – I personally like to watch Matt Stafford because he's old school in the sense he throws the ball downfield. There's so many guys, Goff, they're really good with the dink and dunk. Matt Stafford is going to make plays down the field. Absolutely. He's going to have some picks, but he makes it happen. He's going to go get you those big chunks like that mixed in with that Ram run game that they love so much. So this is a good sign, I think, for them to actually get him re-signed. Why is he so low? 37 years old. So it is a bit of a projection going into the next season. How much longer can they rely on Matt Stafford to be that type of player? But I think Stafford is really good. He's going to get you a lot of passing yards. Definitely needs that protection because he's getting older. But Stafford, I think, is the goods. He's number 9. Number 8, Justin Herbert. Some might say this is a little low, but I don't think so. Herbert hasn't done anything in the playoffs. I think his regular season stats are fine. I think he does. They is certainly now working with Jim Harbaugh. It's going to be like because it's going to be run emphasis. He's going to have a good offensive line. All the other things he's not going to have to worry about, but he's just going to have to get it done when it matters. He does not. To me, he's always kind of moved a little slow running an offense. I notice always too with the Chargers offense, not a lot of innovation, not a lot of like when you see the chefs play, you see a lot of waggle, you see a lot of the moving, you see a lot of Chargers. It's a lot of and that's kind of a thing. But throwing arm, athletic ability, all those other things, yards, lighting up bad teams, absolutely Herbert, no question about it. But I don't have him elite. Some people have him in the elite category. Herbert at 8, I think that's about right. A little bit behind C.J. Stroud. Stroud had a little bit of the sophomore jinx last year. Doesn't play as well on the road. Texans line is so bad. I gotta give it to him a little bit though. I think if they can ever improve the line, and I'm not even sure they have this year, but Stroud I think is the real deal. Very good when they play at home. Stroud has all the tools I think as well. Runs the ball, not great foot speed, but not afraid to run the football, run with the ball. Excellent downfield, very accurate, very, very accurate passer. I like Stroud, very calm, good leader of his team. You don't see him too up or too down. I think if there is a knock, maybe it's that. Worried about if he's going to become Russell Wilson, just too nice, like to see a little bit more out of him. But other than that, Stroud, I think, is definitely number 7 as well. Jaden Daniels, number 6. I think this is one of the Commanders. This is the best Commanders quarterback since they've had Joe Theismann. And I said it because he's that good. Joe Theismann was a great quarterback for them, and Jaden Daniels is fantastic. I thought that didn't surprise me at all how well he played. He's not going. The only thing with Daniels is going to be an issue is now you've seen it, right? I think he was able to catch teams off guard because he was a rookie, but now you've seen it. But everything is there. Like Stroud, poise is incredible. That's what it is. Never rattled, never shook. Totally tore apart Detroit in the playoffs. I think they've actually gotten more weapons there as well. The sophomore jinx thing, I think, worries me a little bit because teams are. He was able to go kind of tail off a little bit in production. Let's see. Dave Daniels is fantastic. When I saw him in the draft, it was like, now, we talked about Anthony Richardson as Lamar 2.0. This is Lamar 2.0. Jaden Daniels, I think, is fantastic. Number 6 as well. Put him behind Jalen Hurts. Put some respect on Jalen Hurts' name. He's bona fide at this point. Got his Super Bowl win over the Chiefs last year. Stopped from winning 3 straight Super Bowls. It's just he doesn't throw a pretty pass. Like We're back. Internet must have bounced out there. So let's get back to our business here. All right, so back to it. Hurts, number 5. No question about it. The only thing I think that's kind of holding back is the fact that the throwing arm isn't great. I think like a lot of people don't like the way, frankly, it doesn't look cute him throwing the football, but everything else is in line and plays within himself. Nothing wrong with that. Doesn't like Stafford does they're coaching him right. He's doing all the things he's supposed to do. So nothing wrong with that. Hurts at 5. Number 4, 1 through 4, we know. Joe Burrow, number 4 with the Bengals. Burrow, I think the only knock on him is the passing yards is always through the roof. He's got 2 great receivers. I think he's got excellent throwing arm. Tough as I don't know what. He kind of reminds me of Jim McMahon, the way he plays. I see him wear that number 9, but definitely with a better throwing arm. Very accurate. All the tools that you need. What's wrong? 1, you're starting too slow. That's the Bengals' problem. You're starting too slow every year. You can't start every year too slow and expect to beat the Ravens and all that in this division. It's not going to work. That's the problem. It takes them a little while to get warm, and then you're behind. So that's it. But Burrow, the only guy to beat Patrick Mahomes other than Tom Brady. So that's something. That's saying a lot here. Number 4. Number 3, Josh Allen. Josh Allen is not better than Lamar Jackson. Josh Allen is not better than Lamar Jackson. He's awesome. Look, this is what if Ben Roethlisberger was ever calmer in the way he played. That's the thing. But Josh Allen is really, really good. Josh Allen is outstanding as far as everything he does on the field. But I think Josh Allen, is number 3. Lamar Jackson would be QB1 in the NFL if it wasn't for the fact that he hasn't had any playoff success. 2 years, you could argue that Lamar Jackson has been the best quarterback in the NFL. So I don't have any problem with anybody saying that. Regular season, I think he has been the best player in the NFL as far as that goes. 41 touchdowns to 4 interceptions last year. That is crazy. His percentages, everything. There's nothing missing anymore from Lamar except actually getting it done in the playoffs. So because he hasn't, I'm going to leave him behind Pat Mahomes. I think Patrick Mahomes is one of the top 20 NFL quarterbacks of all time. One of the greatest players to ever play in the history of the NFL. His numbers are dipping a bit during the season. Some of it, I think, is the talent around him as well. And he did lose last year in the Super Bowl. But I got to leave him QB until I see otherwise. So, there you go. With a little issues there. The number 1, the top 10 list. So, there'll be a little break in the stream there. Top 10 quarterbacks in the National Football. All right. I think the internet went out there, so I had to go over it here. So let's talk about what this is going on. NBA Finals. I got home from the game last night, and I saw Shannon Sharp kind of echo the thoughts that I'm going to say right here. We got ourselves a series. So for those of you that are expecting the Pacers to get rolled by the Thunder, not so fast. 2-1, 116-107 last night. Thunder actually goes ahead and gets it done here. The Pacers actually go ahead and get it done last night. Tyrese Halliburton was terrific when I did watch the game today. So Tyrese Halliburton really, I'm going to almost say they kind of go as he goes offensively. When he has these nights where he's good, it's funny, like Siakam kind of does what he does every night. It's more consistent, scores a few more points, but really they're elevated whenever Halliburton really has one of their nights. And, I keep seeing Reggie Miller in the reference, and boy, it's really similar to Reggie in that sense because, kind of the same. Reggie was that type of guy. He was, he wasn't at the level of the Jordans and the really elite. He was just always kind of that notch below. And that's kind of what I see with Halliburton. But, man, when he's on, woo, like he was last night, no question about it. Thunder aren't playing good defense on the road. Keep seeing it. The only time they're giving up points, they kind of really play well at home. But when they have to go on the road, it's well. So can they come back here? This is a huge game 3. They're still underdogs in the series, believe it or not. I haven't seen this much from people thinking that they're underdogs in a series for when they lose it from a team that's down 2-1. Seem like they haven't convinced that many people. But I think we absolutely have a good series here. Thunder got to pick up defense on the road. And you got to do something with Halliburton because from what I'm seeing, they're kind of going as he's going. So the Pacers and the Thunder, I think it's going to be a great. If you're not watching the Thunder, look, the Rays are going to be down because of the fact it's the Pacers and the Thunder. Because just the fact of the matter is, I know people don't always like hearing this, and I've been a Laker fan my entire life. If it's not the Lakers, Celtics, Knicks, you're going to have less people watching. LeBron, that's just the fact of the matter. You're going to have less people casual watch. That's okay. You're going to have outstanding series as well. I think these are two really good teams. I shout out to the Pacers and the Thunder. So definitely check that out. ESPN is going to go ahead and finish that out, that series. Can't wait to see how this goes as well. But Thunder, let's see a little bit more energy here on defense from you guys to go ahead and get this win. All right, changing the background. Hey, I went from Winchester to Baltimore, right? So I changed the background. Talk about this a little bit. Sports media. We're going to get to baseball here. So Stephen A. Smith, this was last week. This was right after the show, before the pod, where he signed with Sirius XM. Apparently, he's got a multi-year deal to go on to 1 to 3 with Sirius XM Radio as well. So in addition to his first take gig, he's going to be doing radio as well with Sirius XM. So that is going to happen in the middle of September. Couple things here. This is a little bit later. They're replacing, I didn't even know Michelle Beadle was at Sirius XM with this show. So Michelle Beadle and Corey Decker, apparently he's a former Major League player, they're going to be replacing that spot. The biggest mistake you make in radio is giving the people you're getting rid of airtime. You don't do it, right? Everybody knows this, right? You have to pay them the last 2 weeks in salary if they don't have a contract, or you have to pay them the rest of their contract if they have a contract. But you don't put them back on the air so they can flame you up. And that's precisely what they did on their last day. After the announcement, I don't know what they were thinking. You were for sure going to fire them, and apparently they were going to do that. I think they were. I don't know what that is, the rules right now. A little bit about Stephen A. first. I'm talking about Stephen A. a little bit. His role in the NBA, I think, is going to diminish a little bit with the inside the NBA is coming. That's why I think he's taking another gig. That's probably, I've heard a lot of people say he's overexposed. Maybe so, but he's going to be diminished with the inside the NBA coming to ESPN, or he's worried his role is going to be diminished. That's why he's taking the Sirius XM gig. So in case it is, he's taking less dates. He's doing that. That's the reason for that. Beadle doesn't like him. Apparently, they have a long-standing feud. I heard a lot of people mention a couple years ago to have a Ravens reference, the Ray Rice incident that was there. So I know a lot of people were mentioning that. That's why they don't like each other. They had disagreement there. What I haven't heard as much is Beatles very little to Max Kellerman, who's also a rival of Stephen A. because they were their take. I think that also factored in more recently as well. But this is typical radio stuff. But anybody out there in the radio business, I'm sure if Big Rich is watching this or whoever, like everybody knows, you do not put the people you're getting rid of on the radio. Like after you get rid of them. I don't know what they were thinking doing that because they're going to have exactly what happened happen. This guy's stupid. This guy doesn't know. Of course they're going to do it. So it's that was mind blowing to me that happened. ESPN changes in coverage. Rumor is they may be making a change with the coverage. A lot of people aren't happy that it doesn't look like a big fight feel. I don't know what they've been watching because it's never looked like a big fight feel with ESPN's coverage. I think it's worse. The ESPN for years has done a very good job with their studio shows. NFL Countdown was always good. So many years with Berman. College Game Day, I think, is probably maybe their best show now, and it's always been College Game Day has always been good. Baseball, but they have just had struggles with the NBA and the play-by-play ever since they got rid of Mark Jackson and Van Gundy. Word is that they're going to be moving on from Doris Burke, possibly moving Tim Legler into that spot once the finals is over. We will see about that. Very interesting interesting to see how that happens. Doris Burke, I was fine with her getting the promotion. I'm fine with them getting rid of her as well. It's kind of mid. I think like that's the problem. I think when you have your number one announcer, you want it to be really, really top shelf. And I think you could argue that that's not the case right now. And there are more eyes on you. You're kind of looked at differently. When you're the number one announcer, when you're the number one team, you're going to be looked at much more differently as well. It's very important in any sport for that brand to have that number one team to be very important. It's not an accident that Jim Nantz and Mike Tirico and Joe Buck and these guys like that are really good at their craft get these jobs for play-by-play and color, kind of the same. Tony Romo, John Madden for years. I think it's important. The league is your 2-3 your number one team, the team that's on the finals, are going to notice that, and they do realize that maybe they need to step up and do better there as well. Interesting to see what happens. One more thing, basketball. Knicks turned down by several coaches. They're a mess. You're a mess. You're a mess. You ask Iwe Agoko, Chris Finch, all these things. There's no plan. There's nothing. Somebody said they should talk to Jake. Just stop. Just stop. They're a mess. They should have never fired him. The Knicks, and everybody wants them in the finals instead of the Pacers, right? You want to see the Knicks with no direction and all that. All right, switch to baseball. How did you guys like the interview with Michael? I still have trouble pronouncing his last name. It's great enough to come on. Thank you very much, Michael, out there. Some people subscribe to our Twitter because they saw the interview with Michael, so we thank you as well. And so let's go ahead and talk a little bit about.
Put me in cold. I'm ready to play the game. Put me in cold.
All right. And this week we had Michael, and we're talking about his Ironbirds, the Aberdeen Ironbirds. Now, couple things here real quick. We're going to talk the baseball, obviously, with the Ironbirds, but they are having some business issues. There's a question if the Baltimore Banner did report that if the Ironbirds possibly may be moving, the team might be moving on from them. The rumor is it's possible Frederick Keys could be getting back in to going ahead and getting that in there. Frederick Keys are currently in the draft league. They're making I don't know that, but Ripkins are no longer involved. I thought it was interesting during the interview. I asked Michael, hey, man, how was it meeting Cal Ripken? He says he's never met him. So he's been the announcer like 2-3 years. That tells me that the Ripkins aren't involved, even though it's still Ripken Stadium. The Ripkins, the Little League World Series, no longer there. I don't know if the team Added in Sports is going to keep it there. So we're going to keep up with this and see the future of the team. I would personally love to see it stay in Aberdeen, keep the Ironbirds going. But interesting to see how that actually goes going forward there. Let's talk a little bit about the team, the Grow. Now, they do have an interim general manager. Scott Profak was there. Ryan Grohl, animated guy. Like, definitely a guy. So, Ryan Grohl, if you see a Lou Piniella, Tommy Lasorda, a guy like that, Bobby Cox, that's what you got with Ryan Grohl. Interesting path that he took. Not really a high-level player, but a guy who was a manager for years. You're seeing that a lot now. You're seeing it more in football, more in baseball, but seeing a guy who was a manager for a lot of years. Blake Money, 12th round pick. That's a name you're going to keep looking at. It's been decent for them. Jake Cunningham, again, is a guy not quite on that prospect radar yet, but name to keep an eye on. Anderson DeSantos, he's up from the Dominican League. I think for sure this guy is going to be a top 30 Orioles prospect at some point with his rise here. Let's talk about the Ironbirds and Griffel Farrell. Griffel Farrell has kind of struggled a little bit out the blocks this year, but I keep saying he reminds me of Dustin Pedroia. Very compact swing when he swings. Good defensive second baseman. Good defensive shortstop. Was very good in the Olympics. Not so great at the bat at the start. He's been batting at the top of the order, so they have been giving him every opportunity. This is stats that may be updated till maybe as a week or so as well. They're not playing this week. But 3 home runs, 20 RBIs, 213 average. Austin O'Hearn, 4 home runs, 15 RBIs. He's been their best power hitter. Again, average low on this team. I think that's why they're struggling offensively. A lot of guys would have been might have a better record, if we had a little bit better at the plate as far as that production. Vance Honeycutt, the number 1 pick in the draft in 2024. I totally agree with Michael when he talked about how good Vance Honeycutt is defensively. He's terrific. Terrific defensive player on the field. Great power, stealing bases. The power numbers hasn't come along yet. The average hasn't come along yet. So I think that's why he spent the whole year here in Aberdeen, because he hasn't elevated the average yet. Ethan Anderson was a player, I think he played with Griffel Farrell, 21 home runs, 21 years old, 1 home run, 20 RBIs, 14 steals. Very good for a catcher. Good, solid catcher. I think he might go higher. Orioles have a lot of catchers in the organization. So that's his problem. I think that's probably why, for sure, they're not going to move him up this year unless Basayo moves up. But as well, Aaron Estrada, we've been talking about him the last couple of years, and the DSL Orioles as well. Now he's at Aberdeen, 20 years old. You could argue he's been their best player. 21 steals, 289 average, been their most productive. You talk about some of these guys from the Dominican. They are young, but they've been playing a long time. Some of them have been playing professionally in their country when they're 13 and 14 years old. They get to America, they've been playing. He's already been playing as a pro for 4 or 5 years now. So you see guys, you see that Dominican guys play well. The pitching, Michael Ferret. We talked about Braxton Bragg last week. If he wasn't the best pitching prospect in the Orioles organization, it's definitely Michael Ferret. Ferret, 1-1, microscopic, pretty low, 1.59 ERA, 31 strikeouts. Juan Rojas, I think, has also been really good. Hasn't been doing well with the win-loss. I think he's just had some tough luck because the offensive production hasn't been what it is needed to be. But that's obviously a thing. But I think these two guys may not be in Aberdeen much longer. I think maybe they're going to go up to Bowie pretty soon. Wyatt Cheney, 24 years old, 5.12 ERA, 52 strikeouts. So he's got obviously the power to go ahead and strike guys out, but he just needs to be a little bit more productive with the ERA. It's a little bit high as well. Should at this point be overpowering guys if you're 24 years old and you're in AA. So keep that in mind. There you go. Ironbirds. All right. So, yes, that's going to look better than the congressional baseball game that I saw yesterday. All right. Next week, we're going to talk about the Delmarva Shorebirds as well. So, we're definitely going to go ahead and check that out. Definitely into, finally, these minor league games are on Masson. So, you're going to get an opportunity to take a look at that as well. Ario's report. Monday, Orioles activated Scott Bullard, who's actually been out there on the mound here lately. So you actually have seen him a couple times already. They did go ahead and send down Matt Bowman. Bowman, I thought, got a pretty tough break. I thought he was actually pretty good. Yeah, Bowman on his last start, but sat down. They had to make room. I get it. They brought him up. Busy day last week. Couple guys came back. Jordan Westbrook, Cedric Mullins activated from the 10-day DL. I've activated designated Emmanuel Rivera for assignment. Option Heston Kjerstad to Norfolk. Big stuff here. Westbrook hasn't really played in a while. I think even when he was playing before, he didn't look right. So Westbrook already with the 2 home runs already. So Westy is already got back in the lineup. Cedric Mullins, interesting. Wasn't in the lineup tonight, and also didn't play in the field when I saw it the other night. I wasn't like I said, I was out last night, so I didn't see it as much there, but I did see excuse me, that they DH'd him. So interesting to see with Cedric. Maybe a little bit more limited there. Interesting to keep an eye on. Mayor Rivera started out really good. Then he started to struggle a little bit more. I think he might have stayed under different circumstances, but I think he kind of became a victim of the numbers. And Heston Kjerstad, look, I think like somebody I saw on Twitter, like, is this the end for Kjerstad? Maybe not. But I think to pull the plug, I think it's fair. He didn't play well on defense. He didn't hit. He did hit a few home runs, but I think I can't really sit here and say it's unfair that they're sending him to AAA here as well. He's got potential though. I would say that. So I think maybe that's a little harsh, but I could see. Look, he had a couple chances to play as well. DC Dylan Carlson's going to get to stay because he's actually played better. So interesting to see what happens with Kjerstad. Jordan Adams was outrighted to Norfolk. He really didn't play much. He selected Luis Vasquez from Norhigh. Placed Jorge Mateo, everybody's favorite Oriole, on the DL, retroactive to June 7th. Sent Matt Bowman again outright to AAA. That was part of that other move there as well. I don't know who Sayer Dietrich is, but the Orioles went ahead and signed a left hand to contract to a minor league contract. So never stop acquired pitching. I've got no problem with that. Emmanuel Rivera outrighted to Norfolk. After he was designated for assignment, he is in Norfolk. He did go ahead and accept that assignment as well. Gary Sanchez batted twice in his Thursday in his rehab assignment in AAA Norfolk, 8 for 22, 3 home runs with a double in 7 games. He's recovering from misinformation as well. Hopefully, we can get Gary Sanchez back here pretty soon. Who's hot? Jordan Westbrook hit 2 home runs already on the back. Jackson Holliday. Jackson Holiday's been good now for a while. I can't definitely worthy of all-star game consideration. They didn't move him down tonight. I saw they had. That's fine. I don't care where you hit him at this point. As long as he stays in the lineup. Hitting against lefties, got to hit against the lefty. So I definitely he's one of your best. Zach Eflin had 2 outstanding starts. I think this guy is if there's got to be teams calling about Zach Eflin if you are interested in dealing and making some deals. After O'Hearn's been so good so early in the year, I'm putting him in the not categories like under 200 as well. You're going to have that during the course of the season, so I'm not too worried about O'Hearn. Kate Povich, I am still a little surprised that they haven't went to Trevor Rogers the way Kate Povich has looked lately. Not so great here. Kate Povich has been great. as well. Maverick Hanley, this guy's awfully popular for a guy hitting 030. Like people like Twitter and it loves Maverick Hanley. Like this guy isn't hitting at all, guys. Not category. He's not hitting. He's good behind the plate, but I don't know why you guys are not wanting Gary Sanchez to come back after this. I don't know. This week, and I'm gonna edit that. So this week, that isn't the right. Is it the one? No, it's not. It didn't get saved. So this week as well, Los Angeles Angels of Anaheim. So the Angels in the outfield are coming to Camden Yards after this game as well. So you're going to have 3 games as well. Apple TV. So keep that in mind with that. So you're going to have the Angels, Tampa Bay Devil Rays. If you want to go old school with them as well, they're going to be there. Not in the game with the Devil Rays is not going to be in the Dome. For those of you, it'll be in Steinbrenner Field in Tampa because the Dome obviously had the issue with the roof off of it there as well. And I'm going to give it Adley. Welcome back, Adley. Was great this week. I think he was productive. I thought he was driving the ball. There you go, Trent. The productive, just driving the ball. I thought it was fantastic stuff from Adley. Not all the way back in terms of average and production as well, but he's finally looked more like the guy we all want to see here lately. So, there you go. All right. We soldier on. Next week, we're going to go ahead and talk about positions as well. I think that's right. I should know, shouldn't I? So next week, I think we're going to do breakout players next week. Next week. But definitely check us out on the Rivalry Sports podcast as well. We're going to have some more interviews and everything coming. Thank you so much for joining us. Enjoy all the games. Have a great day.